Well, our investigation into the state's unemployment backlog continues. We've shown you the faces of unemployment, the men and women fighting for months to receive their benefits. And as we've explained, how the system was set up to fail from the get-go, from decades-old technology to unnecessary red tape. And now, unanswered calls. Thousands of Wisconsinites desperate for help filing their claim, unable to get anyone to answer their questions. The I-Team, in collaboration with Wisconsin Watch, uncovered millions spent on call center systems that did little to help. Here's consumer investigator Kristen Byrne.
They said everything would probably go through.
Harry Sir's job at a public pool in Cedarburg ended in June.
It just says that it's being processed.
It wasn't until September that someone answered her calls. They told her there was a mistake on her claim, but now it's fixed. They just have to process it.
Processing takes less than 2 weeks. Normally, it has now been 8 weeks since that message has been posted.
While she fought to get any answers from the state, Sir found out the ovarian cancer she successfully beat 2 years ago returned.
So as you're battling cancer, you are trying to get your money from the DWD.
That's been the difficult part because I had to borrow money from family just to pay my own health insurance to make sure that I was covered for all these cancer treatments.
Sir is not alone.
Everybody just tells me it's been assigned. It's been assigned to somebody. They're looking at it.
I've called more than 80 times.
We're presently on food stamps.
When the order to stay at home came in March, hundreds of thousands of people in Wisconsin lost their jobs, many for the first time. From March 15th to June 30th, more than 781,000 Wisconsinites applied for unemployment. That's more than 11 times the number that filed in that stretch in 2019. The unemployment system began to crumble as the pandemic worsened. Emails obtained by Wisconsin Watch through an open records request show the urgency and concern within the DWD. The day after the governor's Safer at Home order went into effect, DWD spokesperson Ben Jed wrote, quote, "We are getting more and more questions and negative comments on Facebook and Twitter." Later that day, then Secretary Caleb Frostman wrote, quote, "We are getting inundated with press inquiries about the long wait times, and we can only keep the negative press at bay for so long." He added, quote, "We have to find a way to get more answers to more people." At the time these emails were sent, DWD only had one call center staffed by 90 employees. From March to July, the I-Team found the department hired more people to answer the phones than to process claims. The DWD added 660 call center workers compared to 438 adjudicators to review claim disputes. The department contracted out claims processing and adjudication for more than $6 million. It spent nearly $15 million in contracted call center work, with most of that money going to a company called Alorica. It's the same company that laid off more than 150 workers from a call center weeks before the pandemic hit Wisconsin. But the Legislative Audit Bureau found only 1 in 200 calls were answered from March to July.
Show of hands, who's had issues getting through to the state on the phone?
You would wait 20 to 30 minutes for someone who would literally regurgitate what you could read online.
Shannone Times Rainwater is an administrator of a Facebook page of more than 5,000 unemployed Wisconsin residents. She says even with the additional call center workers, the person on the other line wasn't always helpful.
A claim specialist would say, "Oh, yes, somebody accidentally checked this box. I'll uncheck it." And a couple weeks would pass, and then you'd open up your portal and you would see that you were back in adjudication for the same reason, because that box was now unchecked.
The contracts with the additional call centers did not include overtime spent by DWD, which added up to more than $1 million, 10 times what it spent in 2019.
They spent a lot of money for no progress.
DWD Secretary Caleb Frostman was fired in September by Governor Evers. Since then, the I-Team asked to interview anyone at DWD about the decisions made over the summer. So has Wisconsin Watch. Our requests were not answered. We also asked for an interview with Joel Brennan, the Secretary of the Department of Administration, which oversees the DWD. He, too, did not respond. And we reached out to the governor's office to talk with Frostman's replacement. Transition Director Amy Pahacek. We were told she would not be available for interviews.
The people of Wisconsin, need accountability. They need our administration and our legislation, our governor, to accept responsibility for where we are right now with this. And no one has done that.
Meanwhile, thousands more Wisconsin workers continue filing claims every day.
This isn't going away. COVID is getting worse. And so I just feel like more and more people are going to probably be applying for unemployment.
For the I-Team, I'm Kristen Byrne.
Well, DWD did respond to some of our questions via email after their deadline came and went. You can read their responses to those questions and find the rest of our unemployment coverage at tmj4.com/unemployment. And coming up tonight at 10, possible solutions to the problem. Lawmakers on both sides of the aisle explain what needs to be done and how soon that could happen. Again, that's tonight on TMJ4 News at 10.